So I want to start giving you my talk, and I want you to think back at a time that you feel really, really proud of yourself. So keep that story in mind as I tell you the story about how I built my way to be proud of myself. So I am Daniela Retamales. I'm from Chile. I'm a Spanish speaker, and I'm an engineer and a social entrepreneur. And a few years ago, I was just working as a full-time job as engineer. But something was missing. I wanted that my work has some meaning, some impact. So I started looking for ideas. And one time I saw a video of a little girl who was receiving a prosthetic hand. And she was so happy for holding, hugging his brother and grabbing her toys that made me realize why no one was doing that in my country. And how a piece of plastic can make someone that happy. So I called my brother and say like, hey, do you want to do prosthetic hands with 3D printers with me? And he was like, what? So after a few days, we start researching and we found out that there was more than 10,000 people in Chile that needed prosthetic hands. And the 90% of them doesn't have one. So we bought a 3D printer. We just figure out how to make prosthetic hands and use a 3D printer by YouTube. And we just have the chance to, a few months later, to give the first prosthetic hand to a little girl. This girl at that time has 4 years old and was close to his birthday. So we give her this gift. And when she started opening it and she saw it, she screamed, "That's a magic hand." So that was the time, that moment, we realized that we wanted to dedicate ourselves to improve the quality of life and social inclusion of people with disability through the giving of these prosthetic hands that we made with 3D printers and with the help of young people in the prison system. So we didn't want more kids excluded in the classroom. That's why we put unicorns and superheroes in the prosthetics, because we want to empower them to be themselves, to go out and be themselves. So all this work started like calling the attention from the media, from other organizations, and not just for the nonprofit. I also started getting the attention as a woman leader. So I had the chance to go to a boot camp from the International Youth Foundation with the best 15 social entrepreneurs from around the world. So in this group, 3 of them were in the list of Forbes 30 under 30. So you may think that my thought was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, I'm giving a few prosthetic hands, but I'm not in the Forbes range, So I asked to the woman who was in charge of the application, like, why did you pick me? And she gave me a long explanation, but if I be honest with you, I didn't truly, believe her. So the problem when you are in the spotlight, it's that you may think that you are not as good as the other people think. And what you have for sure, it's that what you know for sure, it's that they don't know how hard you have been working, all the things that you've been doing mistakes and doing things wrong, or your infinite to-do list and all the things that you never finished. So sometimes you may feel that you are kind of fraud. I really thought that maybe one day it's going to be the headline like, woman who gives prosthetic, it's a fraud. But I understand that this is called imposter syndrome, when you think that you're not as good as the other people think and you don't trust your abilities. And also you relate your success and your achievements to things like, oh, I just have good connections, or I have a good personality, or maybe there was an amazing timing. I was at the right place at the right time, or maybe just sometimes just feel that you have luck. But it's important to normalize this, because in a study from UK, they found that the 80% of the CEOs and managing directors are struggling in their roles. This means that the 80% of the CEOs have the imposter syndrome, and that's a lot of people. And we always think that, that the CEOs always have like everything figured out, but they are struggling too. The other thing that we have to normalize is that this is not just a woman's issue. In the late 70s, they made a research on women, and they put the name of imposter syndrome of these things. But all the latest studies show that this is like the same for women and men in the 50-50 proportion. So you can have a lot of different reasons why you can feel this imposter syndrome thing, but not necessarily you have to be a woman. So maybe you're thinking like, oh, this is another talk of imposter syndrome. There's a lot of people talking about this right now. But even if you care or not about, what is the imposter syndrome, like what's the feeling, what is the cause, etc., you have to care about what it's making you do. Because one of the big problems of the imposter syndrome is that holds you back, and maybe is holding you back from taking that big shots, that big opportunities and challenges that you want to take, but you are just holding you back. So when you have a new opportunity, a new challenge, we have just two options. We can just go for it, show up, do the work, deliver what you have to deliver. Or you can, for example, start believing in this little voice in the back of your head that said like that you're not enough, that maybe you have to wait, that maybe you have to study a little bit more, or maybe you don't have the abilities to do it, and it's hold you back. In other words, for example, you can procrastinate, and that means that you're going to wait until the last minute to do the work, very, very fast, but you're going to do it. Or maybe you can over prepare yourself, and you're going to work so hard to try to make it perfect, and it's going to be so hard for you to just let your work go. But in those cases, you always deliver, and you face the challenge. But what happens when you just self-sabotage yourself, when you just run away and hold you back? And this means that you are not going to apply to your dream job, or maybe you're not going to show your work to your boss, and you're not going to get that promotion, or you're not going to make that big call to the clients that you need, or the funding that you get. So I want to give you a little tool that you can have to identify your pattern. When you have to identify, when do you feel this imposter syndrome, why you feel this way in these situations, and what you do. So I've been talking about imposter syndrome the last few years, and sometimes it still hit me very hard. So I'm not proud of this story, but I will tell you anyways, because you can be related on this. And a few months ago, I had a chance to have a meeting with an amazing woman. It's super important woman here in Chile. And we had an amazing meeting. And at the end, she said something like, in other words, but she said like, you're amazing. You just send me an email and I will open doors for you. So, that's what we always want to hear. We always, when you're doing something, you always wish for someone to open doors for you. That's a huge, huge deal. So I was super excited when the meetings end, and 2 minutes later, I was freaking out. So what happened is that I just realized that I get this imposter feeling when I had a good chance, like a life-changing chance, a good opportunity. So why? Because I realized after, a lot of work on myself, that I'm afraid of success. A lot of people or it's more common to hear that people it's afraid or have this fear of failure. But for me, it's the fear of success. Maybe your why it's related with, for example, shame, feeling that you are not enough, that you don't have the skills, or for example, you have fear of envy or whatever. For me, when I had, I realized when I get this feeling of imposterism is when I have a big shot, big opportunity. So because why? Because I have this fear of success. So what I didn't send an email. So yeah, shame on me. You may think like, how you couldn't send an email? It was like so easy, and I just didn't. And that's the problem with imposter syndrome. It holds you back and make you lose a lot of opportunities. So you need to understand this pattern, like understand when you're going to feel imposter syndrome, why you're feeling it, and when you are aware of this, you can be aware of what are you doing or what you can do, and you can take action. That is important thing, taking action. So for me, not taking action related with my nonprofit means that we are not going to empower more people. We're not going to empower more kids. So you have to be honest with yourself, like brutally honest, and think like, what is the cost for you? The cost for you can be like not getting a better job, not spending enough time with your family, or not making more money, or not meeting that person that you want to meet. So you just have to think, what is the cost for you? So I want to give you with this quote that said like, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. This quote was said for a great hockey player, and this is important thing. If imposter syndromes keep holding you back, you're never going to take the shot, and you're never going to have the chance to do great things, have the best dream that you could ever have. So I really want you today to think about, and to think about what you can do, how you can start taking action, and how you can start taking all the challenges. Because I promise you that if you start doing this, if you start taking the opportunities, you will be so proud of the person that you will become. So that's all that I have to say to you today. Just take action, be brave, show up, and thank you for your time.